not started for that time. At least 10 minutes ahead of it. First question I get from all my friends who know me, why do you have this beard? You know why I have this beard? Because all successful professors have beards. I also don't feel like a professor. But I'm very disappointed. I thought there will be far more pretty girls here. Far more number of pretty girls. Women are now equally in everything. You see, I have two interests in life, marketing. And both are concerned with, and my wife knows it. I have told her. And I have got, both are concerned with 4-letter words. You know, markets with risk and women with love. And you know, Sir John Templeton said that markets are like women. Always commanding, always mysterious, always uncertain. I added always volatile, always exciting. What else can I say? I mean, but I can tell you before starting that truly markets and women are similar. I'll tell you why. Because if you want to be successful in the markets, first thing you have to understand that markets are similar. We have to understand them. We are their slaves. We can never try to master them. Some people tried. One is abroad, one is in heaven, one is within other or jail also. So we are always similarly to have a relationship with a good woman. You can't have it by brooding. You have to understand her. You have to smoothen her. Finally, you have to follow. And I'm not saying it in a sense to make it exciting. This is actually what I have done. That I have to follow markets. I cannot boss them. I have to admit that I'm wrong. And first thing you want to be successful in markets. Because if you want to be successful in markets can never be taught, they have to be learned, like cooking and sex. You can never be taught those things, you have to learn them. And if you don't have this attitude that the market is king, you will never admit that you are. And you learn from your mistakes and the admittance of those mistakes. I am always ready to make a mistake, provided I make one which I can afford, so that I may live to make another mistake. And the biggest cost of a mistake is not learning. And I have found that those people who have a very big defiance and don't want to admit a mistake and curse the market, right? I mean, markets can be wrong for some time. You bought a stock and you didn't go for 10 years. Market is right. I'm wrong. So the first thing if you want to master markets or you want to be successful in markets, remember it's a humbler and it is a king. बोलते ना कि वो भगवान है बाजार हम कतरदार हैं. Anyway, let me start now with my formal presentation. It's about my learnings, and let me start actually by saying that the quest to learn is a journey in knowledge. I think I have learned much from markets, but I have still much to learn. I have not met any successful investor who can really be called a successful investor below the age of 50. You get flames of people who do very well for 2 years, 3 years. But the people who are really consistent investors, consistently good investors require experience. Right? This disclaimer, I don't know why it was needed. I made an outline, it's a long presentation. First, I want to talk about markets. Then I'll talk to the evolution of what I learned and at what stage I learned. Then I'll talk about trading, investing, some of my best and worst investments, the current scenario internationally and India, my beliefs and my party. Why capital markets? I find in a lot of places, people are not able to understand why markets exist. What is the purpose of markets, of capital markets? How did they arise? Why did they arise? See, when we had the markets, as stock market essentially started 300 years ago, and it coincided with the industrial revolution. Until industrial revolution had not come, there was not needed large capital for business. The primary form of occupation was agriculture. But when the industrial revolution started, you needed large capital to build enterprises. And there had to be made a difference between the people who manage that wealth and the people who provide it. And then came the concept of a limited liability company. Because the person who manages and the owners are different, he is not going to be personally liable for the wealth, for the debt of that enterprise. Therefore came the arose of the industrial revolution, need for capital, need for limited liability. Then these people who provide the capital, they needed exit and valuation for their investments. And liquidity important, all things in life. The investors who were investing at that time, they needed exits. So therefore arose the need for capital markets. And that's a very important part of any economic society. As I'll explain to you. Right? So I think these are the reasons why markets arose in the first instance and why they are existing in What I have another slide, how much? This is the right one. What are markets? They are temples of capital allocation. And what is this capital allocation? Why is it important? I think communism is the most fair form of society of America. Right? But it is impractical. What distinguishes capitalism and communism? That in communism, the state allocates capital. And when the state allocates capital, why is China's stock market today, the economy has become 1.5 times the size of 2007 or even double, and the stock market is 1/3 of the size it was in 2007. Why? Because there is indiscriminate allocation of capital and there is no return on equity. Right? So it is the capital markets who allocate capital. And capitalism failed, communism failed because the state was allocating capital, leading to capital being used inefficiently. And sir, this is not theory, I believe this is reality. Right? And it is, what does the stock market do? It channelizes capital to most productive assets. It is a conditioned precedent for risk capital to exist and grow. Right? See, why do you think that Mr. Narotam Sikseria started with $500,000 cement? And when ACC was say 10 million or 8 million, I don't exactly know. But because he was using it more efficiently, he could raise capital and he could become the leader of the cement industry. Look at the difference. I think it's a very, very pertinent difference that Mr. Narotam Sikseria comes from nowhere in 1987. By 2007-8, his company is among the largest cement companies in India. Right? Why could he do it? Because he could produce in a more efficient way, and therefore he got capital from the market. What about Mr. Ambani? Mr. Ambani could never have been Mr. Ambani if he had not raised capital from him. Why Mr. Ambani? Why the house of Tatas? The biggest owners of Tata Steel, when he floated the company, were the Maharajas. If those Maharajas had not provided capital, Tata Steel would never have been born. So it allocates capital to productive assets. It is a source from which risk can be shared. And where the people who use capital most efficiently are the people who grow and become large. Right? Of course, it's a barometer of economic environment, corporate confidence, and capital flows. I remember my uncle was very much involved in the budget making process. First thing after the budget, he would call me. What's the reaction of the stock market? At that time, we didn't have TV and live channels. After all, it is a barometer of the country's economic performance. And I have learned this, and I said it earlier, that in an efficient capital market, appropriate valuation may be delayed but cannot be delayed. अंधेर हो सकती है, देर हो सकती है, लेकिन अंधेर नहीं. Right? So I thought it's very important that I point out to everybody who's doing this course that what is the purpose of stock markets? Why did they arise? What is the implication of their existence? It's not that dhoti wale wala sauda kar rahe. It's vital to the countries. Why is America today the most, the richest country of the world? Because they have set up institutions to challenge capital. Raghuram Rajan wrote a book, I tell you a joke. But what? Capitalism, it's a very negative. Duresh, you remember? No, it's about, in the title there is capitalism.
Saving capitalism.
Capitalist for the capitalism. So I had gone to Delhi to participate in a big bonfire. So there was a CPI MP who were saying speculators are chores, whatever he said. He attacked me. He's saying they don't pay taxes. Boss, I pay taxes, I have proof, and he's pointing to me. Right? And I gave a solid, I told him something. Then outside he came, Rakesh, don't worry, it's not against you, sir. You know, but I have to do my job. I told him, sir, have you read a book called Saving Capitalism from the Capitalists? Oh, you send it to me, Raghuram, I didn't send it on, I got on Saturday, on Monday he called me. I sent him the book, he read it after that, he never told me. Because he shows what is the difference really, and how capitalism prospers in different stages and in different countries, and how it is vital to human growth. Right? And I am a born capitalist. See, here I tried to point out my life when I entered the stock market. There was early learning, there was inflection point, there was a learning curve, there was a defining time, and I think I'm in the consolidation stage of my life. And I have superimposed the Sensex one. The Sensex one. Saloni? Actually, Saloni and I made the presentation together, right? And my partner was. So, what would I learn in the various stages of my life? See, I know inertial trades, I'm a shattered accountant, we are all shattered by the time we are chartered. So, I told my dad said, what will you do? I said, I want to go to the stock market. He said, what will you do? You have no money. I said, Daddy, I'll do something. He said, don't do this, don't come to me. I'll do this. But I was insistent. Then I used to live with my parents. I still live with my mother. My father is no more. So he said, okay, you do what you want in life. Don't ask me for capital. Never be afraid. Right? Never forget your word is your bond. God bless you. And he said, I have a house. You can always stay here. But a good house at Walkeshwar. And the house is the biggest problem in Bombay. He said, whatever you do, if you iska share kar bhi diya, you don't make payment, you can stay here. But he said, never forget your bond is your word. Your word is your bond. And God bless you. And you can only have a chartered accountant. और होशियार तो थे इधर एनिमल 20-25 तो कभी भी कमा ले और कभी ये नहीं करते. So I remember I took a pledge that whenever I fail or succeed, I will never take any money from my father for the purpose of the stock market. So this was 1985 December. First year my brother got me some loans and 15-20 lakhs of loans. And I was lucky to earn another 20-25 lakhs. Then I got married in 87 February. My father-in-law must have spent 20 lakhs. My father gave my wife Jolima at least 10-12 lakhs at that time. I used to think that these fellows are spending 40 lakhs. If they give it to me, I'll make my life. Actually, I think, क्या सारा reception करो और इसको दो उसको दो. मतलब मेरे को 40 लाख दे दो ना, I'll make my life. Anyway, they didn't give it to me and I didn't take it also. So, then 2-3 years, 87 I made the money. I got all that money I made, I got shares of Tata Power. Right, yield, it was 30% yield. And I had no earnings, nothing to do about Mandi in the bazaar. Right, अब क्या बोलते हो ना, तेजी में सबका बोलबाला, मंदी में सबका मुकाला. तो we क्या करेंगे? I should go to stock market every day. And I go with a bag. They should call me bag wala. I had no office, so road pe khada hi rehte the. Actually, I was telling you, first time I went to the stock market, I told one or two guys, my father is coming from income tax. तो वैसे बात ही नहीं कर रहे. बोला किसको बोलने नहीं देते. Asked me what are you doing? I said मेरा father का कपड़े का दुकान है मुझे मार्केट. Then they used to talk. And then on the street I met Mr. Rakesh Jhunjhunwala. And one thing was very important in my life because I got married. My wife came from a good family. She had her own car. But we had, in my house, we had 2 cars. We all used to share it, I and my brother and my dad. And, she had no demand for money. So he used to give no money in the household. हमारा सिगरेट दारू बीवी के कपड़े बाहर खाना वाना 4-5 हजार में हो जाता. So I was supported by my family at that time. I think if my family was not supported, I would have to leave. And those 3 years, there was nothing, years of, except Mr. Lavani and Mr. Shah, nobody was thinking. तो सब ठोक के मारते थे. So then I met Mr. Damani, and he used to be there with Mr. Kamara, while another friend, Mr. Kamal Kamara, on the road. And I would always give lectures, and he would listen intently, and Mr. Kamara would just watch. Right? Then I became friends with him. Then I know there was a script called Sisako. There was one Mr. Bajaj was very, very bullish. And I also got very bullish because the rupee was, depreciating. And at that time, the biggest exporters of iron ore were the Brazilians. And the buyer were the Japanese. And the price for the next year used to be set by October. That is October 12th, you will set prices for 30. And the mills had granted a 16% increase in the prices of iron. And Sisagawa was the favorite whipping boy of the market. So I thought, one day I told my dad, the BSC was giving members. So I told my dad, I need 50 lakhs, I'm sharing for 25 lakhs. You give me 25 lakhs. Dad, I have no security with you except myself. I told him, and I said that you give me that 25 lakhs, let 1 year pass, and like a truck driver pays an installment, in 36 months I pay. Then my dad didn't agree. So I have paid. He said, Daddy, I am the fourth child. You bought me in the world. I may not have believed it. Right? And I have a right, you have bought me. I am in the stock market. I went with 5,000. I have 25 lakhs. मैंने किसका कुछ करा नहीं है. My dad got damn angry. He said, when you were born, you have right in insurance. My insurance is nothing. He said, I will not give you. To the extent I told him that why you can, I have done nothing wrong, sir. In 1985, I went with 5,000. I have 25 lakhs. He didn't agree. मैं सोचा मैं कैपिटल आएगा कहाँ से? तो उन्हें भी सट्टा करना ही पड़ेगा। क्या करेंगे? मजबूरी का नाम गांधी जी। So I started trading. So sir, in a way that what I covered here is my initial trades. I realized that without loss or without some my doubt in mind or some kind of a difficulty, you don't have any gain. I thought protecting capital is always important. So whatever I earned in 85, I put it in Tata Power और बेचने का नहीं. उसमें से कुछ भी आता है साल में 1.5-2 लाख dividend, you get income and you must protect your capital. And of course, you must pay tax. Tax compliance for efficiency. The only problem is in 1992, I suddenly my net worth became 50 crores. So I went and told my dad, Daddy, you go 10 crore capital gain बनना मैं भर दूँगा. जो भी 5 crore 6 crore महीने का लगा capital gain. But ये wealth tax कौन भरेगा? 5% wealth tax means 5% you have to pay 2.5 crores. 50% rate of tax means I have to sell shares for 5 crores. Pay the 50% tax and I pay the wealth tax. That's how the law is. So my daddy said, why are you worrying? Give me the wealth and the income. I'll pay both the taxes. So he said, he told me in life, worry about the income. The taxes will come later. And of course, this confidence building of Sisalo and Tata Power, for the budget of Madhu Dhanpatel, which was the biggest, change of my wealth and my self-belief. Then I learned the first market experience. I remember पहले index बढ़ गया, फिर वो कुछ सद्दाम हुसैन का war आया, economics magazine of friend of mine used to read that. I never knew that the economics magazine also existed. So हमको रमेश ने बताया. So economics magazine had written an article that had Dalal Street ever heard of Saddam Hussein. All the markets in the world had tanked except India, and there was no foreign investment in India. So we went short at the right time. We cut our long, we went short. Then after Saddam Hussein came the crisis, right, of Mr. Dhanpatel. And after that came the crisis of in 91. And then came the great rise after that. Because after this was president of budget, Manmohan Singh. And then markets went up, and then of course came Mr. Arshad Shah, his rise and his fall. I think in the fall I made the biggest money as a bear ever. I don't know, would Doshi hai ki nahi? I used to trade in Enam lots of times. There's the executioner in Enam, Mr. Doshi. He'll murder you while he's smiling. Right? And what I thought is that markets, what I learned is that markets overwhelm on both sides. And this is true of life. They do market move unfathomable. And I use the example in the elections last year. That 185 seats was the best prediction of the Congress. But the Congress got 476. So when trends move on either side, nobody knows how high it's going to go, nobody knows how low it's going to go. Then I said we have to invest prudently, prudent stage, understanding the importance of liquidity. I think this is extremely important. You see, when we trade, every trade has a price effect. But we should trade in a manner that, first of all, we should not, corner more than 5 to 10% outstanding position of any sector, right? Because if you want to liquidate, it will be at a very great cost, right? And we should always trade in consonance with liquidity. वो तो क्या हिमाचल में बना तो कल भाव, कौन से शहर का भाव उन्होंने लेते ही जाने का बदला करते ही जाने का, लेते ही जाने का, फिर वो क्या है बंदर का कहानी मालूम है ना, बोल एक बंदर क्या होता है कि एक बंदर एक बिहार आया बंदर अपने बेटे को ले गया चौपाटी। You're all adults, yes, no problem. So बच्चे नहीं है अभी, right? So वो सब बंदर को कुछ खिला रहे थे, तो उसने को भी उसको सिंग और केला दिया। तो बंदर ने क्या किया, पैर उठाया, अंदर डाला, निकाला, फिर खाया। सिंह का भी ऐसा किया। तो बेटे ने पूछा ऐसा क्यों करते हो गंदा था? बोला गधे तेरे को मालूम नहीं, कल कोई अखरोट खिला दिया, खा तो लिया, हक नहीं पाया। तो पहले देखेगा जो भी खाता हूँ कि हकता हूँ, हकता हूँ कि नहीं। तो अभी शेयर लेके ना तो सोच लेते कहीं बेच पाऊँ करके। Right? So that is understanding the importance of liquidity. Ambitions cannot overshoot market opportunity. I think this is very important. See what happens. Markets sometimes give you a chance by the range to make act of it. Now you get used to साहब हर साल मैं तो लास्ट ईयर 20 करोड़ पर कमाया, अभी इस साल तो 2 करोड़ भी नहीं है, तो ऐसा नहीं है कि मैं इतना वॉल्यूम एक ही शेयर में कर दे रहा हूँ कि मैं 20 करोड़ कमाऊँ. So we have to understand that we not be able to earn when we want to. We can earn when the market gives the opportunity. So you have your opportunity is always going to be in consonance with market. And in my life, Ramesh's life, I can do the market at 150. Today it's 20,000. Today index move had not come, Rakesh Jhunjhunwala would at the wealthy eyes. And digestion and absorption of certain wealth. So when I got rich, my father came to know, he called me. बोले नया धन है, बहुत गर्मी होती है, लेकिन खर्चा बढ़ाना बहुत इजी है, घटाना बहुत मुश्किल है. And he said दान और देन, तेरे ऑफिस में कोई मांगने आए ना तो भले 100 दे, वो 1 करोड़ मांगे तो 100 रुपए दे, लेकिन खाली आते हैं, right? And also sometimes sudden wealth, which for me was very sudden. I think I was worth 3-4 crores in 89-90. I think I must have been worth 50 or 100 crores by 1990. I don't remember the figure. I have to see my balance sheets. But it was big wealth, right? Some people lose head, but by God's grace that I had parents who guided me well, by God's grace, I could absorb it without losing my good qualities. Of course, then 95 to 1000, no badla, no satta, right? Calcutta में सट्टा करो, बॉम्बे में बैंक. So it was a rudderless period. When we used to do speculation means we used to be in the market up to 11 o'clock and we used to talk about the market up to 10 o'clock. Sometimes Rakesh and my wife say, you are married to us or to yourself. So we'll meet in the ring, then we'll go for lunch, then we will go to our offices for 2 hours, then we'll go have a drink together, then we'll go home, have dinner. After dinner, the first call is to each other. So but that all stopped. What to do? So then I introspected. I thought important of reading, experiencing, and learning. One thing I must say that I was very good to meet people like Rakesh Jhunjhunwala, Durgesh, Ramesh, Kamal Babu. I met straight thinking, and all those they were far richer than I was, but they were far more leveler in their attitude to life. And I was a novice, so the people who I interacted with, helped make me. So that was a great. And they used to interact reading. I think Ramesh really interests me to international exposure. I think the best books I've read is what Ramesh has told me. So that really helped me in developing my personality. Then participate. I didn't know anything about software. Everybody was know. I don't know to understand what is Infosys does. In maths, in my CA, the program called computers, or I would take tax planning. I took tax planning as a specialist. but never understood it. I don't know what मैं तो सब सोचता हूँ क्या ये सब लाए हैं. So I never really participated very late. Right? I made very little money. I made some money. Then I had to value picks. I and Ramesh were extremely bullish on the companies. Right? Both were, you can't believe we bought, I think, 2-3-4% of Bharat Alcohols from these Kaltras in one day, I think 22 to 28. Ramesh used to tell me the value of the head office and the land there is 5 times the market. Right? And I remember I sold those shares for 1200. So we had the value of, that was the biggest jackpot. And then private equity learned. It was very stylish that time. हम भी कंपनी को वर्क देंगे, प्राइवेट इक्विटी करेंगे. So I was a partner in Brookfield for US. So we formed a fund of 20 crores. I get 5 crores. उसमें कमाया नहीं. I lost money, but I had the biggest learning of my life. Because after I interacted with some of these small companies, I realized what inhibits growth, right? And how reality is far more important than aspirations. When I had a company which had developed a software for hotels. Now there you have this one company is there, he's a world monopolist. He's cost at that time 4 crores for a 5-star hotel. And our software was running in 20 hotels, 5-star hotels, 40 lakhs. And they had 2 modules, back office and front office. For that other software, you have to integrate them. Our module was one. We tried marketing, we couldn't, that company gave us an offer. Then we'll market for you and we'll give you a royalty. How much I fought with the promoter later. And the difference between scalability. You know, so how essentially a business operates, what are the obstacles, how business grows is how I learned. I lost money. Out of the 5 crores, I think I got 50 lakhs back. The last 1.5 crores of please. But I learned. And then, of course, was 01 to 07. You know, when September 11 took place, you know, for 3 days, I think they were on the bed. Only to the trolley bus for that moment. They were on the bed. And I used to think, Salah, that death already is source of the Americans. You think it can change the economic history of the world? What will happen? And you know, the index went from, say, I think 3300 I remember on that day we had gone for a lecture for that. No, not Jane. वो जो investor है ना, whose copy is Warren Buffett. Pepper. Jane की जगह पे कपड़े लेके गए थे. And then we came to our Ramesh's house. And so bomb है तो we were having things like क्या bomb बन रहा है ना New York क्या कर. Then next day we realized what it was. But market went down and the way it rebounded means there is no place now. And, you know, I thought that, you know, Indian companies, a lot of unutilized capacity, interest rates were low, inflation was low. I believe Great Eastern, 25 rupees price, 57 rupees fleet value, book value, 85 rupees fleet value, market value, 3 rupees dividend, and 9% में पैसा देता था Standard Chartered. So it was an asset whose real worth was 85 rupees. You could buy it for 25 and be cash flow positive by 1 rupee every day. That was the kind of opportunity which arose. And I bought 50 lakh shares. I think the management bought back some 4 crore shares. And the price 20 to 35. Imagine, 1/3 of the capital. And actual fleet value of management was certificate. Book value was apparent. And price was 40. So that kind of opportunity. I think what Bharat was 20 rupees. 2 rupee dividend. Right? And that's why I thought it's a lifetime opportunity. And you know, in June I wrote an article in the Economic Times that India on the verge of a secular and structured bull market. And people said, "Khud phas gaya, gaon ko phasa." Right? And August markets went down, I sold shares. But it was a big, ऐसा नहीं है कि पैसा हलवा आ गया. You have to go through pain and time. And then highest leverage of my life, we tried the growth stories. I think we had very, very good luck. That we could buy Praj for 100 rupees. Right? We would buy Nagarjuna for 13 rupees. And most of the investments were made. And I know once the index cost 3,700, Kalpraj called me and told me, next stop is 5,000. किसको बोलना नहीं मैंने बोला. He called me actually 3,700. And he said, next stop is 5,000. Right? Went to 5,000 3 months. Right? And Telco, one time I bought 25 lakhs Telco between 260 and 280. 7 days I sold it between 370 and 340. those kind of opportunities were there. At that time in trading also. And then we had the growth stories, concerted and diversified portfolio. I think I matured much as an investor. Buy right, hold time, exit in frenzies. I hope I heard this. 13 रुपया का नागार्जुन 380 देख के आए. अभी 28 रुपया हो गया. बीवी को बोलेंगे तो गधे हो बोलेंगे कर ली. Right? And then with 13 rupees I bought the stock. It went to 380 rupees. And our dream was 500. Okay, dream is okay. But 300 में उठना चाहिए था. I mean, 300 I should have sold. Right? Instead of buying at 28. Meaningful stakes. Then, I thought I was partner with Utpal Seth. He was a broker. Then he worked with Anam. I also liked him. He was a broker earlier. So he came. I made him my partner. And, he thought we'll build some organization and all. Finally, I realized I'm not capable of doing that. I told Utpal, you will make an organization. I will provide what you want. But my part of rent is going to end with Rakesh Jhunjhunwala. And resisting temptation. A lot of people used to come to me. क्या करेंगे? अपन थोड़ा ये क्या है? My sisters will call up. उसकी friend है देखो, उसके friend का देवर है, उसकी बहुत बड़ी कंपनी है, he wants to meet you. मैं बहन को क्या नाम बोलूँगा? भेजाओ. क्या करने के? My price, my performance. मैं बोला क्या करेंगे सर? क्या करेंगे? अपन मार्केट में लेंगे, देंगे, तो कुछ करेंगे. मैं बोला आथा रोड का रास्ता मुझे मालूम है, मुझे मत बताओ. And all of them used to offer such temptations कि 40 का भाव है, हम आपको 25 में 10 लाख शेयर देंगे, आप वो शेयर रखना, फिर 1 साल 2 साल बेचना मत. तो शेयर ले लिया उसने और मैंने वो 40 में मेरे को बुक्स भरे, एक्सचेंज में डालेगा 1.5 करोड़ उखड़ा देगा, उसका बाप मैं बेचूंगा क्या करेंगे? वैसे आप लोग ये सब धंधे में जाने का नहीं, right? And then they used to offer material also, lot of things. I said don't worry, I know Bombay better than you. And then of course, अभी आदमी क्या बोलेगा? कुछ कमाते नहीं तो फिर कंसल्टेशन नहीं करेगा. So 2007, I tell you what, 2007 I first came on the Forbes billionaires list, right? And how I came that Amitabh Jhunjhunwala, my cousin, he knew the operator, he knew the reporter very well, and he told him he's a billionaire I know. Don't question anything. So उसने डाल दिया billionaire. Right? And I was having wealth more than $1 billion. फिर साला अपना तो wealth 60% बाइक आउट. तो गाँव को तो मालूम था कि मेरी चोट बहुत लगी है. तो गाँव तो चिमटी करेगा. सब आदमी का समय आते हैं. बोलते हैं, are you still a billionaire? I said, of course I am. I don't know in which currency. Right? See, गाँव चिमटी करने वाला गुस्सा नहीं होता. See, there's a price of success, right? And now, I mean, nobody takes in the mind if you are a competitor and you are farmers. It's human nature, you have to accept it. And the people who are successful have to be mindful and not be bitter about somebody's things. Right? This way, I was in the hospital, I don't know what you are. Someone is calling my father and saying, I'm in the ICU. So he's crying. Then he's calling Rekha is sitting next to me, what is his life? Then, there was tests on the portfolio. And I think by God's grace I passed it. I just lost 10% of my wealth last week. Some part is reflecting, it is bounding back. And everybody in my office to say, boys, Bhaiya, we are very sorry. I said, what are you sorry? I was expecting this, that's why I sold 1.75 shares 6 months back. Right? So first test हो गया portfolio का, थोड़ा ल्यूपिन अच्छा हो गया, PCLG हो गया, Russia bank was always good. Then reflecting the experience leads to deep learning both actually. I thought how I got this wealth, why not I sell at the top, how greed overwhelmed me. अरे क्या क्या story बताओ? 60 लाख साला मैंने गया Punch Lloyds before it was issued at 17 rupees. 600 रुपया दिया. I was in Mauritius on a holiday, it became 600. So I had to become very bearish. So I have a partner with Ashwin KD and SQ. तो वहाँ बीच पे अरे कुछ लोग 600 क्लैप मैं बोला भी जा रहा है बी वर्ड है 600 और खुद का शेयर लेके बैठ गया. I sold some part, say 25% at 300, balance at 60. तो गाँव समझते हैं हम शाने, हमको मालूम है हम क्या है. Think of it यार, वो मुझे क्लैप मांग रहा है 600, मैं उसको गाली दे रहा हूँ. खुद के शेयर नहीं बेच रहा हूँ, खुद के शेयर 25% 300 बेचता हूँ, बैलेंस 62 खाली बीवी को ही पुष्टि नहीं उससे जिंदा है, नहीं तो सीधा टेकन है वाला मरी। You know, there is a law. You can, under the Indian Penal Code, you cannot be charged with raping your wife, but you can be charged with stealing her money. So her money is her money and my money is my money, right? Then you know, I thought that थोड़ा capital बड़ा हो गया था, the ability to borrow was good, so I thought I must temper my return expectations, focus on quality of companies, take lower risk appetite. Then I turned 50, we had a solid celebration, and it led to a lot of introspection on my part. When I smoke 20 cigarettes a day, I drink 8 tons of whiskey a day, right? I thought, what am I all doing this in life? And why am I earning wealth? I have far lesser wealth than people think, but far more than I need in fact, is how I look upon life. So why am I doing all this? Right? And I think that changed me as a human, the introspection of life. And of course, I thought, what way to prepare for the next bull market now? Itna bhi mandi aayega, right? So this is my evolution. Now, sorry, but please, I'm going back. Then of course, trading, the mother of all my wealth and success. मां सट्टा ही है, क्योंकि उसके बिना इन्वेस्टिंग नहीं होता. And I am a trader first, an investor later. And I don't, if I go to parties and all, even in 94, 95, what do you do? I say, I'm a speculator. I'm to satta karte. I don't trade anybody's money. Who I care for the world? Right? As long as I play the rules of the game right. So people discourage trading, but I do. See, if you have 2 packs of whiskey a day, the doctors will have it. Right? So trading also, if you do it the right way, why not? What's wrong with it? Right? The companies like SR, who have 5,000 crore, say 20,000 crore equity and 1,20,000 crore debt, they are bigger speculators than we are. It's a fact. See, I can trade anything that moves, provided I have a broad idea of the direction, what to risk and when to take. बॉस ये कुछ सट्टे में ज़्यादा समझ नहीं थी, वधारे का सब फंडामेंटल, नो फंडामेंटल. That is the principle of trading. वधारे लेवानो, वधारे I used to go to a ring no with all research and all. The Kaka used to tell me, "Su to a kalno chokro lo gao che." ज़्यादा पढ़ना नहीं, वधारे लेवानो, वधारे देखो. Right? So we must have broad idea of direction. We must know what to risk, right, and when to take a loss. I think trading is an assimilation of fundamentals, technicals, and other influences. But price is time. I said, "मैं भाव भगवान है, हम पकड़ना नहीं." Right? There was a speculator. Now how he used to buy? There was Kapade, English Kapade. That time Tisco में बहुत बड़ा सट्टा होता था. तो बोलेगा Tisco 101, 5,000 डालो. वो उसको 2,100 रुपये 90 पैसे मिल गया ना, वो बड़ा विड्रॉ कर देता. बोला 101 और 110 में मिले तो लेने का, 100 रुपये 90 पैसे में नहीं लेने का. So price is so important, right? I think trading is counted. Therefore, success ratio is extremely. See, it requires you to kill your ego. One day when Rekha asked me, कि क्या आप करते हो, क्या सट्टा है? मैं बोला देखो टिस्को में बहुत गाड़ी तेजी है, तो 100 में 5,000 शेयर लेता हूँ, 1 लाख शेयर लेता हूँ. भाव 103 हुआ तो क्या करूँगा? मैं और 50,000 लूँगा. 105 हुआ तो बोला और 50,000 लूँगा. 97 हुआ तो बोला बेच दूँगा. वो आप क्या करते हो? 100 में लेते हो, 103 में लेते हो, 105 में लेते हो. Has anything changed? 97 में बेच देते हो. मैं बोला तुम अपना टीवी देखो, ये सब तुम्हारा धंधा नहीं है. आप समझे ना? तो that is what trading is, right? उधर अपना ओपिनियन नहीं है. Opinion is in the price, right? Ability to take a loss, digest pyramid and night profits is the key to trading success. और राकेश जी बोलते हैं ना कि सबसे मुश्किल काम क्या है कि ये नफा हजम करो. इतना टेम्पटेशन होता है, सारा सूच है 50 लाख वाली. Day before yesterday I did a trade in the rupee. A very good trade at 59.03. I shorted the dollar in the rupee. साला इतना दिन से पैसा तो देखा नहीं था. मेरे बाप ने सिखाया, लेकिन 58.63 में मैं बोला 1 करोड़ आता है ले लो, और साला रुपयों में 57.60. So why should I cut a profitable stock here? So the ability to digest a profit is most important. right? So you must pyramid your profits. See, in pyramiding, what you are doing, you are using your existing profits, right, as a margin for the next. I don't mean the broker's margin, as a margin for the loss that you do. And you know, it is all trend follow. So, trend follow. Then, market is supreme, being slave not is first. Think you have two guys. One is market, one is real life. And it is supreme. If you don't accept this, don't come to, if you come go. Market is supreme. And the biggest thing is you lose money. Second thing, you will never learn. Because if you don't accept markets are supreme, you will always say, I have never made a mistake. What else to do? Right? Trading is the highest ROE business in the world. Therefore, one of the most. So don't attempt to carry it. I get a lot of foreign friends. Foreign friend means, whereas I was that impressed, he managed 2 billion, 2 billion. Then I managed 8 billion. And all these brokerage firms, they call that they want to meet. Then one fellow gave 15 billion. So फिर 15 billion तो normal हो गया. फिर मैंने decide किया बाप मैं बोला I don't want to know how much you manage. आप समझ हमको क्या लेना देना? एक आगे है मैंने 80 billion. राजरत्नम भी आएगा. राजरत्नम जो जेल में गया. हाँ, he said India is this, India is that. I told him मैंने और उसको एक दूसरा था कोई मद्रासी. वो तो इंडिया के ऐसे मारे कि इंडिया क्यों ही कर रहे हैं? इंडिया में become default. मैं बोला सर फिर तुम आए क्यों? हमने invitation भेजा था. मेरे को तो कोई प्रोग्रेस फंड में रिक्वेस्ट किया तो अटैक किया. Why you come to India? ठीक है? And you know, trading is the highest ROE business in the world. All these foreigners they will ask me, how much capital is allocated to trading and how much is allocated to investing? So see, I have a firm called Rare Enterprise. It does only trading. Its capital is 2 lakhs. Right? It is Rare Enterprise, you Rakesh and Rekha, RA and R. So I have allocated 2 lakhs capital. So that is my allocation to trading. Whatever Rare Enterprises then lifts money is on interest. So effectively I am paying interest on the entire trading portfolio, except the 2 lakhs. अपना तो ऐसा कुछ वो लोग को तो क्या होता है? I am 40% in trading, 60% in investing. I don't understand the difference. Right? But think of the ROE of Rare Enterprises. 2 lakhs capital returns, 20 crores in a year, what is the ROE? Because everything else is interesting. Your own ROC will be lower, but ROE is very high. Therefore, it's the highest ROE business in the world. Leverage is a double-edged sword, which comes sharply on both sides. Disciplined and dispassionate leverage can go. I carried 33% of my wealth for 18 months. But August में बाजार घटा खड़ा मैं तो 2 दिन में 75 रुपए दलाल को मैंने बेच के आने का उसमें मेरे पास 2.5 लाख वो था अपना सीमेंट स्क्रीन में 100,306 में वो मालूम है फंड मैनेजर को मेरे को बेचने को बोले मैं तो 292 तो बोला बेच दे सारा पैसा चाहिए तो मेरा हम बोले एकदम स्ट्रिक्ट इशू टू माय ब्रोकरेज है तो भैया आई गेट टू 305 तो भैया अकॉर्डिंग टू 300 मैं बोला तू बेच नहीं बेच मैं उसको बोला सारा थोड़ा मारता तू बेच तो फिर सोचने का नहीं 300 इस बिग 5 रुपये 2.5 लाख से 3.5 लाख बट अभी कोई भी पैसा वापस मांगना आएगा तो बैंक में पैसा तो चाहिए ना तो इट इज डिस्पैशनेट इट्स अ डबल-एज स्वॉर्ड राइट फर्स्ट लॉस इज द बेस्ट लॉस मूविंग स्टॉक लॉस मोस्ट आई थिंक द फर्स्ट लॉस इज द बेस्ट लॉस 100 में लिया 98 में बेचा इज बेस्ट 100 में एंड आई टेल यू इट इज so difficult that sometimes I lose lots of time I lose money in trading and I'm very active मैंने इसलिए अभी मालूम है कि बनने को बाजार घटने वाला अपना बड़ा लेंगे तो फिर बनने तो बेचना ही पड़ेगा ना क्या करेंगे समझो है परचेज ऑफ 5 लाख I तो गिव द ऑर्डर टू माय बॉय कि साला सब सरकार कर रहे 9:30 बजे को चाहिए और 10 बजे and I go to the bathroom and smoke 2 cigarettes or I go out for a walk without the telephone so I can't even contact him right? और इतना दिल दुखता है कि you know disco 340 आपने 5 लाख 4.5 लाख बेचा और भाव है 332 आपको मालूम है आप हटोगे बेच के तो भाव हो जाएगा क्या तो कभी कभी मन होता है कि साले 50,000 शेयर उसको बोलो बस अपने आधे घंटा भाग बेचेंगे 4.5 ही बेचो। फिर क्या होता है कि 4.5 के बाद 50,000 बच जाते हैं, तो फिर भाव हो जाता है 345, तो ठीक है 50,000 अभी रखे हैं, क्या है, तो अल्टीमेटली भाव हो जाता है 320 में बेचना। So you do square off, and you have to take the loss, take it. And of course, first loss is the best loss. When it comes to trading, timing is more important than time. I give a very good example. So you heard of George Soros. You heard of the story of the man who broke the bank. What he did, you know what that was? It was a precursor to the euro, right? That the question was as a precursor to the having the euro. They wanted to make a range of the currencies of the countries, big countries. So what they said, that the Deutschmark's value will not be more than one Deutschmark to the pound, and it will not go below 130. So it comes to one, all the central banks will value Deutsch, the German currency. If it goes to 130, all of them will sell the currency. Now, but in order to maintain currency variation, you have to have same monetary and fiscal policy, right? And everybody knows that every German doesn't believe in God, but he believes in the Bundesland. So George Soros knows this will not continue because the Germans will not align their monetary policy to the British. And the pound was essentially a weaker account rate. So, you know, this continued for 2 years. Every time it came to one, he would sell the Deutschmark, right? He had to apologize to the central banks. Because 1 to 130, 1 to 130, it went 2-3 times. And he would be in the opposite direction. But he timed it. And he took a bet which was 30 times higher than what he was nominating. And they say he made £1 billion. So timing se time ki tarah important. And he has written in his book that he realized that he must hit this stone at the right time. Right? So you must, the ACC, poor people bought ACC at 450 in the stock market in 86, 88 and they lost 600. Because भाव हो गया 700 बदला लग गया 250. That's a fact. I know people who did it. And then from that 125, in 4 years, ACC was 11,000. It went up to 100 times. 100 times. So, you know, timing most important. Money management is non-negotiable. Don't be afraid of making a mistake. Only make one kind of mistake. If you are afraid to make a mistake, you can never trade. For most successful traders, their profitable trades don't exceed more than 33% of all the trades. 2/3 of the trades result in loss. But what he says after that, it's not whether you are right or wrong. What matters is how much money you make when you are right and how much money you lose when you are wrong. This is George Soros. So don't be afraid to make a mistake, and also always keep liquidity. कि बॉस इधर कोई मम्मी पापा सास ससुर को हेल्प नहीं करने वाले हैं, सुबह 10 बजे दलाल को चेक चाहिए, नहीं तो वो फोड़ देगा. And it's not good. I have a lot of people who are ready to give me 20 crores credit, say हमारे यहाँ ट्रेड करो, 20 करोड़ तक आप देना मत. I tell you मुझे झुंझुनू का रास्ता मालूम है, मुझे बता दो. Simple. When you start depending on people to pay your losses, you become careless. Right? I mean, 10 commandments for trading, and you will read it. Be realistic, make trading price dependent, not opinion dependent. We can give you the present what it is secret. So you don't have to. Trading is a full-time profession, not a part-time job. It cannot be half-hearted. जैसे इनकम टैक्स ऑफिस में अच्छा 1 बजे क्या भाव है कि आप कॉलेज में पढ़ रहे हैं, अभी तो लेक्चर अभी बात नहीं करूँगा, राइट, की दुकान चलाता हूँ, फिर सुबह क्या है 9:30 बजे भाव लेके कुछ सौदा कर लेता हूँ, फिर 3:30 बजे फिर दलाल से भाव पूछ लेता हूँ. It's not like that. It has to be full. It cannot be half-hearted. Know the rules and verify them, for they may not be what you do. I give a very simple example for this. आप लोगों ने 3 पत्ती खेली है ना? All of you have played? ठीक है? किधर एस किंग क्वीन हायर होता है, किधर एस टू 3 हायर. तो कभी भी न्यू गेम नए लोगों से खेलो तो पूछो व्हाट इज हायर, एस टू 3 और एस 3. और when you go to an exchange, what is the rule of default? So always verify the rules. They will be different from what you do. Right? Never aspire. I'm saying again. Never aspire to the market's master. Best to be slave. Leverage your skills, not your capital. ज़्यादा कहीं बोलते हैं ना, कभी चेकबुक से शेयर बाजार में नहीं गए. बाप का पैसा है, ससुर का पैसा है, आप समझे ना. So leverage your skills, not your capital. Have a broad idea of direction. Remember, trade is your friend. I said stock broking. I mean, it's an assimilation of technicals and fundamentals. तो मेरे को तो लगता है कि टेको का भाव 800 होना चाहिए और अभी 320 का 295 हो गया तो सट्टे में कम कर देने का रखने का क्या? You have to follow the price, right? Play C, not blind. This firm market offers many opportunities even after the cards are closed. Mr. Dhamani was in the extremist bearishness on the day of Mr. Danvate's budget. The next day he was more wrong than I was. So markets always give opportunity, even if after the uncertainty, right? और दिन बात गई तो रात गई. Then don't think कि मैं 74 में बेचता हूँ, 94 में लेता हूँ. That's the way markets are. Right? Know what and how much to risk, assess risk. Don't assess risk कि मम्मी से पैसे लेके सट्टा कर लूँगा, ससुर जी देने वाले 1 करोड़ रुपए. Good judgment comes from experience. I think these are very important words. Experience comes from bad judgment. Trading can only be learned, it can't be taught. I have learned trading by making mistakes, right? And it can be taught over a period of time. Of course, some are born traders like Rakesh, but they are 1 in 2 crores, right? Then of course, investing. So what I did in life, I traded. Do we get too long? I go fast. I traded, and then when I got the wealth, I invested. So what it is, long-term investment can multiply wealth. So long as you invest in the right way. Business, management, and I mean, I hope you understand this. Addressable opportunity, competitive ability, scalability, and operating leverage. Management quality and valuation. I think these are the things I see when I invest. Right? Because if there is no opportunity, let us say, do you think Infosys have been Infosys without the revolution in 90? And did Infosys do anything to create it? And did we know in 93 that this kind of a revolution is going to come in the internet? So always assess addressable. Right? I mean, title opportunity in the jewelry market is limited to the size of the jewelry market. He can do very little to increase the size. Right? Colgate will say depending on India's use of toothpaste. So look at the addressable opportunity. I think for every company to succeed in a capitalist society, they have to have a competitive ability. I thought Titan's competitive ability was market and excellence and quality. So when you try to invest in a company, look at its competitive ability. Sometimes I also seen that change is coming in a company is also a competitive ability. Change which the world you feel will come and the world doesn't recognize. Right? Competitive ability and scalability. When I saw a car of Fiat, it said when I grow up I want to be a Mercedes. So it's a very, very big question that can you scale. Thousands are different of scalability. Biggest thing is that the promoter doesn't want to give his control. Uska LR could sign karega, doesn't want to delegate, his ego is there, he doesn't want to show people who are capable. Right? Then challenges of capital, market size, competition. It's like, I mean, today, Durgesh Bhai told me, should we buy small cap or large cap? I said, let's buy the small caps which will become large caps. And scalability is the biggest answer. Right? Management quality, which I judge. First thing I find out, are they trading in the market? If they are trading in the market, I am not. And then I meet them and try and assess them because finally investing is out of informed ignorance. That finally they are ignorant. But I can't know anything about cement, tires, software, jewelry, hotel, and so many businesses. Right? And then valuation. It's important what you buy, it's more important what price you buy. Focus on drivers of earnings and valuation rather than earnings and valuation. See, this is very important. We invest in the future, the future is not known. So let us look at the factors that will drive profits rather than trying to predict the profits. And that's very important. So I look at what profits could be later. See, that's a quantitative analysis. But a qualitative analysis is far more important before you start the quantitative analysis. Right? So scalability and sustainability can be ignored at great time. We should understand iterative process of investment hypothesis, validation, and performance and development. I mean, you got to constantly review and alignment of interest is important, alignment of value creation, of course. I think they are very important things. See, for some entrepreneurs, profit is important. They're ready to take unwarranted risks. So is the management really a wealth creator? It can be a profit creator, but is it a wealth creator? I think there is a very big difference there. Well, concentration is a good choice. I like to have concentrated bets. देखो कितना संभालेंगे? बच्चे हैं, स्कूल है, बच्चों का स्कूल है, कितना कंपनी संभालेंगे? And consolidation can also be natural outcome in any portfolio. It was a very, very big natural consolidation. 3 stocks constitute 55% of the right? In any winner, portfolio become gorillas and losers become legends. They will pay out ROI, ROE, UCF, SGF, key indicator of value. सब आपको मालूम है ना ROI, ROC हमारा टाइटन का ROC कम करेगा और 30% वैल्यू निकाल दीजिए तो गंगा differentiate between core positions and peripheral positions. Core position to be retained through market volatility or peripheral going to be sold. This is very important. Right? So it's you must sell the peripheral positions in exhibited times. I'll give you live examples of how I lost. Where 10 pounds of investing, be an optimist, the necessary quality for investing success. If you're not an optimist, you always got RBI bonds with you. And if this I learned from Peter Lynch, that wars have come, tornadoes have come, epidemics have come, but markets grow. So be an optimist, right? Expect a realistic return, balance fear and greed. You know, I used to go to the bar in Jeffries regularly. I don't go now. I'm a good boy. So all people come stock market. I get angry. I say, "Sala, आराम करने को है क्या? Stock market tip, सबको बोलता है हजार से If anybody asks me anything after that, I'll say tips are hazardous for it. ये वो pretty girl आके पूछती तो कैसे ना? तो वो कुछ बोली कोई शेयर ले लो तो 70 का भाव है। बोली क्या गेन हो जाएगा? मैं बोला 3-4 साल में 150 से 200 हो जाएगा। बस मैं बोला देखिए this is the address of the Bombay Race Course. Why don't you go there? I think if I get an 18% return on my portfolio, I am a king. If I get 24%, I am an emperor. और ये क्या तुमने इसको रिस्क समझेंगे? Right? So expect see the biggest mistakes are made when you are too afraid of taking a risk or you expect a return which is most of the risk. Right? Investment what part in the larger picture, make it an act of wisdom, not intelligence. This is for Nemish bhai's खास आपके लिए लिखा है कि रोज कितना डिस्पैच हुआ, क्या हुआ, वॉश का कितना पार्ट गया, एमआरएफ का कितना टायर गया, Nemish bhai knows everything, he will see does बनाएंगे. So you know, ये सब क्या है? It's uncertain future here. You are investing in the realism. You are investing on an act of, I mean, in the realms of possibility. मेरे ग्रैंडफादर को मालूम नहीं था कि टाइटन कभी 500 करोड़ नफा कमाएगा. I never thought in my life. Nobody thought. 400 करोड़ का सेल था अभी लास्ट ईयर 1000 करोड़ देखो प्रॉफिट. I never thought यार. हम तो 25-35 में लिए ना सोचा 150-200 में बेच देंगे और क्या है. So you are investing in the realms of possibility. अभी हिंदुस्तान ऑयल हम 1990 में लिया 22 years हो गया सर ऑयल नहीं मिला ये हिंदुस्तान ऑयल आज समझे ना तो हमारे पास भी बहुत बंदर जैसे अप्रोच आए हैं बहुत फंड मैनेजर्स मिलते हैं ना someone give me offer lot of managed money I said no I'm not interested तेरे को तो क्या है कोई हम लोग को तो हर एक महीना में सब क्लाइंट लोग मारते हैं इंटरव्यू करते हैं बोला साले यार वेरी लकी मेरा तो रोज सुबह रात को सुबह इंटरव्यू आज मेरी एरिया भी कितनी बड़ी समझा ना KBA emperor never forget this whole word risk and I'll tell you another one he never calls anybody कि I bought this because he or she आप क्या दूध पीते बच्चे हो You are above 18. You are responsible for your deeds. तो ये नहीं कि मेरे ससुर ने बोला सारा गधा ये शेयर बड़े गधे तो आप होगा आप में क्यों गया right? Be disciplined, have a game plan. Be flexible. For investing is always a reason. Right? As confident investing not a rule, not ruled out. मैं बहुत शानों को मिला हूँ शेयर बाजार में. पूरी दुनिया तेजी बोलेगी तो मंदी बोलेगी. पूरी दुनिया मंदी बोलेगी तो तेजी बोलेगी. Don't be a contrary तुम साले सब गधे हो क्या पहले आए तो बड़ा फैक्ट निकालेगा ये आर ये पी इतना बढ़ गया है, कोई आईटीसी का पी सबको 280 से ज़्यादा लगता है ना, 350 तक भी ज़्यादा लगता है, right? So don't be a contrarian just for being a contrarian, but never, you know, never ever or think that I will not be a contrarian. It's important what you buy, it's important what price you buy. I explained that earlier. Have conviction, be patient. Your patience may be tested, but your conviction will be rewarded. Make exit independent decision, not driven by profit and loss. You all know, we all plug the roses to flower the weeds, right? So you know, it should be an independent decision. Just because what has gone up, इसमें नफा है, तो ले लो. Never do. चाहिए अभी एक बात बहुत क्या है? Trading versus investing. Approach. Trading is realistic. Investing is always optimistic. Method, broad idea of direction, trend is your friend. I think be disciplined, have a game plan, do a lot of fundamental research. Uncertainty, play seen, not blind. In trading, take a loss. First loss is the best loss. Patience will be tested, conviction will be rewarded. Then focus is batare le varu, katare vesh varu. By a broad direction, add on new information, exit and independent decision. Loss, Bhagwan, Bhav Bhagwan, Ham Katarna. Price adds adding and you have a stop loss. Here sell on irrational exuberance or sell on failure of hypothesis. I am trying to distinguish between trading and investing. Rule, I don't trade what I invest and I do not invest what I trade. Of course, what Titan को ठोक दिया 200 तक थोड़ा ले लिया, right? But generally, I never trade in what I invest. I never invest in what I trade. And dogmatism. Lot of, is must for investing. It's poison for trading. I said no dogmatism. Must for investing. And the biggest trades, biggest profits you make when there is not large institutional shareholding, when people are buying. And most people say, when you tell you about this stock, they tell you 10 reasons why not. I think that is, but dogmatism you must hold, and it's poison for trading. मतलब निजाम का खजाना भी खाली हो जाएगा जो जित करेगा, right? And a lot of people tell me, you are unique here, you're a trader, investor. How do you do that? I said, to be a good trader, investor, I have go a wife and a mistress and learn to keep with that peace. Then you have no problem. So trading is one compartment, investing is another compartment. Then I think this is my belief. I care for my conscience, not for what people think. I care who for the world. When I got married, I used to drink, I used to smoke, I used to trade. So a lot of people would tell my wife. So I used to tell her a song. जो उसने भी बोला धोनी की वाइफ ने, कुछ तो लोग कहेंगे, लोगों का काम है कहना, या तो सीता को भी बदनाम किया. I say who to the world, I care for my conscience. I don't care for anybody else. I'm not fixing to get married, they're going to marry up the road. So I know कोई मारवाड़ी समाज में रिश्ता भी था, right? Quest for learning is a journey, not a destination. Means are more important than the end. I think this is the most extremely important thing. All of you young people must. I cannot vary my means for the ends. And where we have to learn, we have to set our own standards. You do what your conscience allows you. But that doesn't mean that you vary your means. Benefits are the byproducts of relationship and not the purpose of relationship. In spite of such a long one, I'll explain to you 2 minutes of words. We in Hindu Samaj glorify mother, mama, right? I didn't have a child for 17 years of my marriage. I knew what the benefit of having a child is. A mother brings up a child because she enjoys it. Because she thinks he'll give protection in old age. More because she enjoys it. And that I am the son of Mrs. Urmila Jhunjhunwala is a matter of fact, that I am son of Mr. Rakesh Jhunjhunwala is a matter of fact. So you can change anything in life, you can't change who you are. Of course, अभी तो वो क्या हो गया होती है ना, वो सब नए ज़माने में, right? So see, the most focal relationship of life is mother and child, right? But the relationship also comes because of benefit. Remember that. Child benefit because he gets protection, mother benefit because she gets the joy of bringing up a child and for protection. There is the most fundamental relationship. So relationships are there, but because people benefit. But if benefit is the only purpose of relationships, then it's a business. I think it's very important. when we start making friendships only for the purpose of relationships, I don't know. What the dead will not be happy with that. Be greedy, but be long-term greedy. Understand the role of time. Anyway, I won't elaborate much. All addicts in life are tempting and transient. Don't be overwhelmed by success. I think beauty, taste, anger, wealth, everything is transient. अभी क्या मीना मंदिर है, शंकर टेगोर को देखो तो ऐसी लगती है क्या इससे पहले लगती है, क्या वहीदा रहमान को देखो, everything in life is transient. You get overwhelmed with it, you will have, right? Respect people for who they are and not what they are. I care of who. तो चीफ मिनिस्टर महाराष्ट्र भी सेम अपने लिए और उसका प्यून भी सेम, अपने को दोनों से कुछ काम, right? So respect people for who they are. What the hell I got to do with the chief minister of Maharashtra? मेरा तो मैं फ्लेम यूनिवर्सिटी की परमिशन चाहिए, समझे ना? So I respect people. I like somebody, whoever he is that, right? I don't respect people who what they have. Only the paranoid and the attitude, of course, understand this. And the last one is very important. Remember one thing: the giver of wealth is God, and He casts a responsibility to share. So if you earn 10,000, you give 100. If you earn 1 lakh, you give 1 rupee. The giver of this wealth is God. We are what we are by the grace of elders in the blessing of God. So always give, and give not because God will give you more, but give because it's right. So these are my parting words finally. Practicality is what life is all about. तो बोले यार देख मैंने तो रूप निकाला था टिस्को का 200 में, भाव 600, मैंने रिलायंस का रूप निकाला था 1300 में, भाव 3300. मैं बोला तूने क्या किया? बोला नहीं मैं सट्टा वट्टा नहीं. So you know practicality is what life is about. What is your final result? Be practical. I am a dreamer. I am going to create startup. तो बोला पैसा कौन देगा? और वो टाइम पे खाना पीना में तो डैडी ने दिया था मेरे को, घर दिया था, रहता था, right? So be practical. Do something you love. I think this is extremely important. I love the market side. I repeat what Mr. Buffett does. That this allows me to do what I want. I enjoy what I do what I enjoy. The means are more important than ends, sir. I cannot tell you youngsters. Never forget. And set your means as per your conscience. I am not going to tell you that these means are right or these means are wrong. But never change the means. Right? Because for yourself, देख मेरे पास बहुत आते हैं, इंसान इन्फॉर्मेशन निकाल दो, इसको पैसा खिला दो, उसको खिला दो, सब कर सकते हैं हिंदुस्तान में, फिर शेयर ले सकते हैं, लेकिन मजा क्या है? मजा तो इसमें ना, fun is in the bloody hunt here, not in the kill. And if the hunt is a bloody got for the wrong means, then what is the ego? What is the boost for you as a human? Right? Dream with your head in the sky, but your feet firmly on the ground. Whatever you can do or dream, you can begin it. Boldness has genius, power and magic. मेरे को था ना अपना ड्रीम था शेयर बाजार में जाएंगे. One reason I want to share market is my father's income tax department. I placed to myself, God send me somewhere that I don't have to go to this office. But income tax में तो जाना ही पड़ता है. भैया बोलता है नहीं आएगा तो असेसमेंट नहीं करेगा. तो जाके सर आज जोड़ के आने को. यमदूत. किससे करने का जिंदगी में भगवान भी इनकम टैक्स और किससे नहीं करेगा. So dream with your head in the sky, aspire but never income. I think this is very important. You know, when I was studying, as a young boy, I always had very rich friends. Because of my school, my dad's friends, my father taught me that aspire to have what they have, but don't envy them. Don't be malicious to them. Don't curse them or don't think bad for them because they have more than you. Well, aspire to have more than them, but never have it. I think this is some of the finest words my father told. Right? Remember that nothing is permanent, all adjectives are transient, temporary, I told you. Be paranoid of success, never take it for granted. Right? ऐसा नहीं अपना तो पोर्टफोलियो 5,000 का 1800 करोड़ हो गया और अपन हंस रहे हैं और गांव पूछते आ रही हो मिलियन. अपने को कोई पैरों नहीं है. Right? Build a fighting spirit, take the bad with the good. Lose but don't be a loser. I think these words are very important. Lose but don't be a loser. This Shah Rukh Khan held in that match, and you may lose a match, but that means you have lost fight. You know, Churchill said you have to lose many a battle to win a war. Never forget that. So just because you have lost, you have not lost. Yeah? The war is still on. And though the horizon seems far and difficult, when you reach the horizon, realize how many more horizons lie. When I first come to the stock market, I thought साला अपने पास करोड़ रुपया हो जाएगा, साला महीने में 25-30 हज़ार की इनकम हो जाएगी, I am the fucking king of Bombay. फिर 1 करोड़ आया तो फिर नया horizon आया, फिर थोड़ा धन आया और horizon आया. Actually, when you start life, I used to think 5,000 to 1 crore, how I get? Right, but I had a dream, that was my first horizon. But then see the horizons I saw. And the first one seems very difficult. And the horizons after that are always greater and better.